Hello and welcome to the Pro Tour Austin Championship match. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are getting to watch one for the history books. Brian Kibler has recently come back to the game. He's been playing since the mid-90s. He's closing in on 200 lifetime pro points. He's in his third top 8 now and already eligible for the Hall of Fame. You know, he really would love to get into that conversation to try to get that ultimate prize for a Pro Tour player. He's got an amazing zoo deck, really teched out by Hall of Famer Ben Rubin. They put Baneslayer Angels in so they could win the zoo matchup. They found Punishing Fire Grove of the Burn Willows, which is just an amazing combination that no other playtest team found. And now, in the finals, there's Tsuyoshi Ikeda. He's closing in on 300 lifetime pro points. Also already eligible for the Hall of Fame, having made his Pro Tour debut more than 10 years ago. He runs Shop Fireball, one of the legendary pieces of the Japanese Magic scene. The Fukuoka card shop that he runs has produced Jin Okamoto, Itaro Ishida, Hall of Famer Tsuyoshi Fujita. And it's Fujita that built this zoo deck that Ikeda is piloting here. So 2 Hall of Famers lingering off-screen, 2 Hall of Fame hopefuls bashing it out to find out who gets that title of Pro Tour champion added to their resume.
Sure, if we're calling Kibler's deck Rubin Zoo, perhaps we should be calling
instead of Spectral Zoo.
Raleigh Zoo.
Yeah, Fujita Zoo, something like that. Tsuyoshi Zoo. That'll work.
That's actually very convenient for both of them.
Exactly.
Hate when you miss it.
All right, so Tsuyoshi Ikeda, his tech is Spectral Procession. He can put 3/1/1 flyers into play, which was particularly good against all of the Dark Depths combo decks that were running around this tournament, putting 2020 Merit Lage Avatar tokens into play. Blocking that 3 times was enough for this zoo deck to sort of crack and race and win. Not as useful against a zoo deck or a Baneslayer Angel, which is going to win the race with lifelink. So to see how this play out, but the general consensus seems to be that Kibler has the edge on deck. Both players seem to have reasonable draws here in game 1. Looks like Kibler got to Bolt and a Coddle. He's now got a Tarmogoyf in play.
We got a Qasali Pride Mage on the side for on the other side for Ikeda. Takes some damage from a Shockland. Reeds Grove of the Burn Willows.
Nice.
Making sure he wasn't supposed to have gained some life there.
Yeah, you can tap for colorless for free. It's just if you want red or green that your opponent gains a life. Oh, and there's Path on Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, that's very aggressive. We've actually
It's
seen
a quick
people
path.
be a little nervous about pathing early on Kibler because it just accelerates him into his Baneslayer Angels.
But Ikeda wants to clear Tarmogoyf and start attacking for damage. He's like, if you're going to have to do it at some point soon, you may as well get in the damage while you can. Yep, attacks for 3. That'll drop Kibler to 16.
And adds a Kurt Ape to the mix.
Kurt Ape. Yeah, Kibler's deck is a little slower, and it's got bigger creatures. So this really plays out like kind of like it's got a beatdown versus control sub-theme to it, except when you're just a little bit slower, it tends to be a really powerful place to live in the metagame.
Yeah, the big difference between the 2 decks is the 3 Baneslayer Angels.
Versus Kurt Ape, yeah.
Versus...
I mean, that's really the first way to describe the Kibler Rubin Zoo deck. It's like, okay, we'll take out the Kurt Apes, because you know what would be better than Kurt Ape? Is Baneslayer Angel. Just like take out the bottom of the mana curve, add the top, sprinkle to taste with the Punishing Fire combo, which gives you both reach and card advantage.
And where Ikeda has Spectral Procession, Brian has the Grove of the Burning Willows combo.
Sure.
So Knight of the Reliquary for Brian, with looks like 2 lands in his yard, 2 lands and a bolt.
Yeah, both players run Knight of the Reliquary. That's not all the zoo decks ran that, but these guys both decided that was the way to go. Particularly since it gives you access to Ghost Quarter against Dark Depths, and also against the 16 1-drop zoo variants. It's nice to have a big blocker.
Just gonna keep pathing all the time.
That's what
there's another broken sleeve.
Yeah, it makes sense. If that's the way he's going to run it, he's got to hope that he's got enough removal to kill Kibler's creatures. Kibler, I mean, I think Ikeda has basically said, I lose if you have Baneslayer.
Right, if this game goes too long.
If this game goes to Baneslayer, you win. There's only 3 paths to exile in his deck, and those are the only 3 cards that really answer a Baneslayer Angel.
That's 4 path to exile.
4 path?
Deck. Yeah.
Okay, 4 path. So there's two left in theory.
I don't even have to look at his deck because I think they're both in his hand. I think he had just a very heavy path draw, which explains why he was so willing to throw those away early. Or not throw them away.
Not throw them away, but he's just like, I'm going to give you land.
Willing to make that to go down that road.
If he's got 4 path in his hand, I would like his chances. Kibler has to draw a lot of threats to survive that. Well, there's a Tarmogoyf and an Elspeth.
An Elspeth, that's a problem.
You can't path Elspeth, can you?
No, you cannot.
Is that the one random Miser's Elspeth?
It is. One Elspeth Knight Errant. There's not even another one on the sideboard.
All bats all the time here. Yep.
Oh, and Kibler's out of basics.
Baneslayer.
Now, Ikeda has to think about what he wants to attack.
Right.
Brian's life total or the Elspeth.
Absolutely. Decides to go for Elspeth.
They tag team the Elspeth.
Togen is going to block Kerdave, and the Pride Mage will take away 2 counters.
And there's an Umezawa's Jitte.
Oh, Jitte.
That's another card difference between these two decks.
How many Jittes does Ikeda have?
2 Jittes in his main deck, none in the sideboard. Kibler, I'm just double checking. Didn't see any when I was looking. No, none.
Elspeth makes another token, and Kibler passes the turn. Yeah, 3 copies of Path to Exile really have deprived Kibler of all available creatures. Feels kind of lucky he's got the one random Elspeth. Kibler's hand is 2 land and a Lightning Helix.
Which we'll probably see right here.
Yeah.
Does not want to get counters on that Kerdate.
Yep. Lightning Helix on the Kerdate means the Jitte is not going to pick up any counters. Brian is going to have a net.
14 after
14, then 12. Yep.
I'm 16.
Net
Yes.
gain of 1 life.
Go.
And the Jitte is just laying around waiting for something to pick it up. Kibler flicking his cards. Hoping he could do a magic trick here, turn one of them into Baneslayer Angel.
15. Okay.
There's a token, there's a Tarmogoyf.
Sure.
No more paths in the deck for Tsuyoshi Ikeda.
3-4.
3-4.
Again, how do I deal with this 3-4? He equips his Pride Mage to his Jitte.
Tarmogoyf steps in the way.
Yep.
That'll eat the Pride Mage, but the Jitte does get 2 counters. He's good enough to kill Tarmogoyf,
Yep.
right? Yep, there you go.
Oh. Yep. Yep.
He's just going to play this out as an Elspeth game?
He may. How many counters is that on there? 6?
Yeah, 6 counters.
Elspeth is -8 to make everything indestructible. Okay, it's down to 13.
Go.
Just says go.
10.
Wow. I like the way Ikeda played this game. He seemed to be in great shape with the path. Ran Kibler out of creatures. He's got a couple of attackers, looked to be in great shape, with the one random Elspeth off the top of the deck.
Couldn't draw Baneslayer, Angel, but I mean, he drew Elspeth, and that's been just as good for him.
Yeah, good enough.
It clogged up the ground, it preserved his life total, and now it's giving
attacking
him an offensive weapon, and pretty soon it's going to shut down.
It looks like Ikeda's still got more removal in his hand. Ikeda's hand includes a Lightning Helix, a Lightning Bolt, and 2 copies of Spectral Procession. He cannot cast the Processions yet, though. That basic forest, messing him up.
Helix is a token.
13.
Yeah, Ikeda needs one more land to bring Spectral Procession into play. Draws Kirdape instead. He can pick up a Jitte. What does Ikeda need to win this game? Like, how does he come back? Say come back, it's more or less tied, right? 12 to 13.
The momentum certainly swung towards Kibler.
Yeah.
He needs to get a couple of attack phases in.
Yeah. Kibler knocks away the Kirdape. Oh, which does give Ikeda the land he needs. Interesting. Kibler's decision to path the Kirdape is going to allow Ikeda to start casting the Spectral Possessions that have been clogging up his hand. Jitte takes down 1 token. Here comes Nacatl and another token.
And we're 1 turn away from Elspeth going ultimate.
Yeah. When we started imagining this matchup, I didn't think Elspeth was going to go ultimate. And I particularly did not expect that to be the way that Brian's 1/1s could beat up Sayoshi's.
Yeah. He may not go ultimate. He may just choose to continue using it like an outpost.
Sure. Certainly, I don't think you do it at 8. I think you at least go to 9 first. But it's kind of random that it's the one Elspeth, but this is kind of the way this deck is designed to work.
Sure.
I'll survive the early game. I'm certainly fast enough. I'm not going to get blown out. I've got my Lightning Bolts, my Helixes, my cheap removal, my small creatures. But we get into the late game, and all Sayoshi Ikeda can do is, okay, tap 3 for 3 dorks, and then that card's gone. Kibler has way more powerful effects, like Elspeth and Baneslayer Angel.
And there's still Baneslayer lurking somewhere near the top of his deck, right?
Right, there's a Punishing Fire, too. I mean, eventually he'll draw Punishing Fire, and he can just start killing all those tokens that way. Like, he's got neither of the most powerful aspects of his deck online, but the rest of the deck seems good enough.
Right. And Elspeth's essentially a
4th Baneslayer.
4th Baneslayer, yeah.
We've got a couple of viewing parties watching this championship match today. Wanted to send a shout out to the folks at Misty Mountain Games in Minneapolis. Glad you guys could join us. Hope you're enjoying this. Oh, there's Punishing Fire. That is bad news for Sayoshi Ikeda. There's a Burn Willows online, so Punishing Fire kills, and then Burn Willows. Oh, he's got 2 Burn Willows online.
Yep.
Okay, gain 1. I'll kill another creature. And then, yeah, gain 1 again. Get it back. Wow, such a good engine. How did nobody else find that? It looks so obvious now,
There was no shortage.
Nobody had it.
No
One
shortage of
playtest group
combos to
in the
find.
world. Right, but I mean, a bunch of people found Dark Depths. Everybody was kind of hoping they were the only ones who had Hex Mage Dark Depths, but I mean, the secret was out. Everybody knew about Cascade into Hypergenesis, and yet no one found Punishing Fire Grove of the Burn Willows, except for, I don't know if it was Ben specifically, but it was that group, right?
Right.
Gabriel Nassif, Herbert Holtz, Chapin, Kibler, Dave Williams, Ben Rubin, that group, they're the only ones in the world who found this combo.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like it when, you know, a deck-building innovation like that gets paid off to the tune of, I mean, it's at least $20-some thousand. Was it $25,000 per second?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Maybe
25,
40.
Right, maybe 40. And a lot of people won money playing this deck.
Oh, absolutely. Rubin went, I think, 8-2 with the deck. Or 4 of them played this version of it, and they all did well.
Yeah, the numbers for this particular build were something really gaudy, like 25-5 or
Right.
something approaching those kind of numbers.
So second spectral possession, but whatever. Let's gain a couple of life and use up a turn.
Yeah.
So the other viewing party we wanted to say hello to are the folks at Phoenix Comics in Calgary.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, people have gathered at that store, put us up on the big screen. They're watching the Pro Tour Austin Finals.
I assume they're drafting.
I assume they're drafting as well. Take the black cards.
Yeah.
They are the best ones.
The red ones are pretty good, too.
Take them together.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just punishing fire
Kibler's
with
just mopping up here.
punishing fire with buyback.
Punishing fire with the buyback, yeah. Searing touch, but for 3. There's been a lot of action on Twitter today as well. Hashtag PT Austin if you want to jump in on the conversation.
That was a lot of fun yesterday as we were coming down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Really trying to figure out who was going to be in the top 8. Was that last spot going to go to Paulo? Was it going to go to Kibler? Was it going to go to Hall of Famer Rob Doherty, who finished in 9th place?
All right. Kibler continues removing blockers with his punishing fire, continues attacking with the soldier tokens he's gotten from Elspeth, and this is just going through the motions. This will be over in probably one more attack phase. Another Hall of Famer in the top 16, Raph Levy, he went loss and still managed top 16. Yeah. He just needed to win one of the last 2, and he'd have been playing today.
He had to go down to 4 cards?
Yeah, with mulligan to 4 against Progenitus in the last game. Yeah, Ikeda scoops them up, so Brian Kibler takes the lead, 1-0. His deck did what his deck is designed to do. And yeah, the longer this matchup goes, the more it plays into the strengths of Kibler's deck. As soon as he drew Punishing Fire, this game just went from bad to ugly.
So
we should follow up on that Twitter note, by the way, because if you're listening to this and you're not following Magic Pro Tour on Twitter, you should just get a Twitter account.
Yeah.
It's like the last couple rounds of the Pro Tour, we're basically covering it live. And, you know, every couple of minutes, it was another update from the feature match area. I thought that was just really interesting. Like, to use that, essentially, you could follow the Pro Tour live rather than, you know, it usually takes half an hour for the feature match to get up. And, you know, the standings lag a little bit behind. But I just like the way on Twitter you get this feel of here's what's going on right now. Right. You know, I understand what's going on right now. You know, we had the top 8 figured out before they'd even announced it to the crowd.
Right.
You know, how many people who's drawing, how many people are going to get on breakers. I even saw, it was funny, because I follow Kibler on Twitter, and Kibler, the round 15 ends, the next to last round, where he more or less punted a match against Hypergenesis. And he's like, I picked up loss number 4. I don't know if I can still make it. And like 5 or 10 minutes later, he retweets a Magic Pro Tour post saying, you know, we've done the math, and we think 2 people can get in with 4 losses, and Kibler has the best breakers. So he's like, yes, it looks like I've still got a shot. Even the players were following the Twitter feed so they could understand. In Kibler's case, you know, that was... He kind of suspected as much, but it was kind of funny just to watch the way that played out.
There was also a lot of additional coverage that gets augmented by people just watching from the feature matches.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Evan Irwin was hanging around the feature match area, twittering. Trick Jarrett was there. Tons of other, you know, players. Sam Black always twitters from his events.
You talk about Evan Irwin. I want to see the show, what happens in the Magic show this week. He was hanging out for the, they do a dress rehearsal for the award ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure we got the cameras and stuff. And so, you know, whatever, they're just pretending to hand out trophies. So they grabbed Mark Rosewater for the dress rehearsal and did the trophy ceremony dress rehearsal with Mark Rosewater as the Pro Tour champion. And so Evan wanders by with his camera, and he's filming Mark Rosewater, like pretending he won the Pro Tour,
Mark's jumping
waving
up
the
and
trophy
down.
up and around. So I just imagine that being in like the Magic Show intro for years.
Yes. Sorry, Zvi, you're getting bumped.
That's funny. Do these decks change much when they sideboard?
I don't think Brian has sideboarded at all against Zoo.
Yeah, I mean, Kibler's deck is definitely set up so that they pre-built the deck against Zeus, since that was the deck they expected the most, and all the good cards against the other decks are in the sideboard.
Right.
So I don't think he sideboarded a single card against Hunter in the semis. I doubt he sideboarded a single card here. It was a nice sigh from Kibler. That was the, oh my God, I think I'm about to win the Pro Tour
After
sigh.
all these years.
After all these years, after all the like crazy scenarios that have gone on this weekend to almost knock him out.
Yeah.
He needs to not think about that. I mean, he's got 2 matches left to win.
Ikeda probably is bringing in Countryside Crusher, which we've seen in his other Zoo matchups.
Sure. Yeah, Crusher seems decent.
Probably not bringing another Otherworldly Journey. Might be bringing in...
Volcanic Fallout's not good, right?
Volcanic Fallout doesn't
I mean,
seem
you
very
did just
good.
lose to a bunch of Elspeth tokens, but that's such a random, like, one of.
Right.
Can't imagine he answers that.
Brings in Flash Fires.
Doesn't
That
sound
doesn't seem
right.
very good.
My favorite aspect of Ikeda's sideboard is definitely the Rift Sweepers. He's 2 Rift Sweeper. We did dinner last night. We told this story earlier. I think it's worth retelling. It's like, why are there Rift Sweepers in your sideboard? And you asked Ikeda that this morning, right?
Yeah, I did, and he said, I don't know.
It's like, Sagoshi Fujita handed me the deck list. I'm not going to question him. He said there should be Rift Sweepers in the sideboard. I guess there's supposed to be Rift Sweepers in the sideboard.
He said he did side them in against Ancestral Visions. Tsuyoshi apparently felt maybe that there was going to be Dragonstorm here. I don't know.
No, he was gonna hit Lotus Blooms.
Lotus Blooms.
That's
Maybe
hilarious.
Gargadons.
I don't see Gargadon. Lotus Bloom makes a little bit of sense. Speaking of Fujita had a Dragonstorm for you. But yeah, I mean, Ikeda knows who to listen to.
So, if you're building this deck at home, thinking about taking it to the next round of PTQs, or thinking about taking the local store, give a good hard look at the Rift Sweepers. Is possibly an area in the sideboard you could improvise with. The Otherworldly Journeys, though, I thought were a spectacular card in this sideboard. We saw him bring those in against Paulo in the Dark Depths matchup.
Right.
And it's just another removal spell against the Dark Depths combo, against the Merit Lage token. So many of the Dark Depths decks were bringing in
Muddle.
not just Muddle, but the oh boy, Chalice of the Void. It's been a long day so far.
Yeah.
Bringing in Chalice of the Void, setting it on 1
To stop Path.
as a protection against Path.
Right.
And so Otherworldly Journey's a 2, and it gets around that.
Yep.
And it's just as effective.
Yeah, it's true.
It blinks out of existence and
Yeah, but it's arguably more effective because they don't
never
get a
comes back.
random basic
Right,
land.
that's true. So, that's if you're wondering why that card is in the sideboard.
Right.
We've certainly
Cheetah
seen
decks always have that. Like the 1.0 versions, they have the absolutely amazing, oh my God, how did he think of that? And then they have the really?
the one Ghost Quarter. Yeah, we saw Flame Tongue Kavus in his Columbus deck sideboard. And we were like, you have like 4 lands. You could make
Right.
mana.
You're sideboarding down to 16 land.
The one Ghost Quarter is also a very nice card that has
congratulatory text. It's pretty
a
fun.
lot of, he has the ability to tutor those up with the Knight of the Reliquary.
I bet I would like to see Ikeda sideboard. I bet he sideboarded Outland. I bet Fujita has taught him that. Right, it's a bad matchup. You have to get lucky. One of the ways you can get lucky is to open up on like 3 land and then never draw land for the rest of the game and just have more spell density than your opponents. I've seen Fujita do that multiple times. Sounds like he took out Pride Mages is what he's taking out.
He's keeping his hand.
Oh, did he board in the Otherworldly Journeys? Is that what I just heard?
Brian is mulliganing.
Huh. He brought in the Otherworldly Journeys.
Definitely broke a sleeve right there.
So I guess he's going to use the Otherworldly.
All his sleeves.
Use the Otherworldly Journeys as sort of a
There we
muddle
go.
to make sure to protect his own guys maybe from Brian's removal spells, and then they come back a little bigger.
Sure.
You can also use them that way.
I'm a friend. This is company's president. I'm a friend.
Oh, yeah?
This KMC.
Tell them they need to make it
President.
make them stronger.
So Brian's been complaining about his sleeves throughout this top 8.
And they are Japanese sleeves from
And-
KMG, which
Yeah. and
Ikeda knows those guys.
Ikeda said, "That's my friend." You're
Malak.
politely lets him know you're railing on my friend.
Never met him.
You see Ikeda sort of plotting out his turn
Yeah.
with his hand.
Is this a mulligan, Kibler?
This is a mulligan. He's going to start on 6 on the draw.
There's a broken one. He took my sleeves away. I just need a sleeve. Thank you. All right, so this is kind of... I'll keep.
Looks like Landon spells.
Yep, and we're off. Kibler 2 games away from being a Pro Tour champion. Ikeda's going to have to win 3 of the next 4. Fetchland go. Plays against Fetchland and take 3. Well, we'll see. Yep.
I blame Fetchlands for my sleeves. Having to shuffle that much?
And Noble Hierarch. Keita waits till the end of Brian's turn to break his Misty Rainforest. Just figure out what land he wants.
Yeah, it looks like he might have a lightning bolt in his hand too. He's got to figure out whether he wants to bring one into play untapped and bolt now, or he's going to decline
he chooses to draw.
Declines to sack it at all.
Maybe he wants to draw some more lands here. Doesn't want to thin his deck out.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Looks like
He's got triple spectral possession in his hand. Like how much white he needs? He needs a second source of white. I don't think he has any white except that one fetch land. So here comes Tarmogoyf. Looks like a 2/3 land. No, it's a 3/4 land
3/4.
creature and instant. Okay, Keita continues to decline on that fetch land. Really wants to draw more white mana so he can turn on the spectral possessions that are in his hand.
let's draw 2 more.
They're a little unwieldy. I mean, he's only got like 17 or 18 lands that produce white.
I actually would have assumed he took those out, but maybe for the Crushers.
Sounds like he took out Pride Mages. Kibler's got a pretty good grip. Assuming he's got access to red mana. Is there a land in there? Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, Arid Mesa. Tarmogoyf attacks into Nicodle. Hits for 3.
Keita goes down to 15. Go get a mountain.
Helix to Nicodle. Yeah, gets basic mountain.
It's funny, I don't he plays
No,
Knight
Knight
of
of
the
the
Reliquary.
Reliquary.
Yeah, it feels like on the surface, the zoo matchup should be very fast. But you have so much shuffling
Because of all the fetch lands.
because of all the fetch lands. These matches probably take 5 minutes on Moto.
I don't think they take that long.
You probably spend more time deciding what lands you want to put into play than you do
Right.
playing the game.
Well, Ikeda does come up with another fetch land. So he's got access to 2 white mana now.
What do you have life totals at? He has 15. 15, right? I can't read. Yeah.
Double checking life totals.
I think I'm at 16. He's at 15, right? Yeah. I think it's wrong there. I just wanted to...
Life totals. Do you have the life totals at?
I should be 16.
Take 2. Take 3.
Yeah. 16.
You're 16.
Yeah.
Brian wasn't that worried about Ikeda's life total. He was worried about his own being recorded incorrectly. Ikeda's thinking about his turn. Whatever he's at 2 less because he needs
Get
to
2 fetch lands
needs to
sitting
break those 2 fetch lands.
Yeah.
deep, deep in the tank for Ikeda. We've certainly talked about this before. How there's even more. Sometimes you're playing a control-on-control match. It goes so much quicker sometimes. You're like, go, 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 go. Playing lanes. But in a match like this, there's so much tactical interaction in terms of, if I attack and he doesn't block, what does that mean as far as his ability to crack back, or if he blocks, or do I force him to have to block? And so these games can actually really slow down quite a bit as players try to figure out all the implications of each move.
True.
And I mean, we saw, like when Juzo
Kibler's
was
bolting that Nikadal, by the way, clearing a path for his attacker.
Well, he's not taking a lot of time on his decisions.
It's true.
He seems to know exactly what he needs to do: kill things and attack.
2, 8.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big chunk gone from Ikeda's life total.
Kasali Pride
Here
Mage.
comes a Pride Mage,
Which-
16 to 8.
Kibler does not want to side out after certainly seeing the Jidais
Oh yeah,
in game
Jidai,
1.
sure. Yeah, Ikeda's got some fetch lands. He's still got those spectral possessions in hand that he's not even capable of casting yet. Lightning Helix is the more relevant card. The problem is it's a 3/4 Tarmogoyf, and what is it? Is it a 5/5 Knight of the Reliquary?
At least a 4/4, possibly a 5/5.
Yeah, so Lightning Helix, it doesn't even kill anything other than the Pride Mage. So yeah, here he's going to go get a white land, presumably. Comes into play tapped.
Goes and gets
Going to get another one while he's at it.
Falls to 6. So, would not even be surprised to see him pack up the cards here. Not.
Not
Hey, well,
just yet.
we did see 4 paths from him first game. Doesn't know it, but he's actually at 3 with a lightning bolt in Kibler's hand.
Ikeda untaps, draws another Lightning Helix. Not quite what he wanted. Normally a pretty good card, but Kibler's creatures are so big. Can't even kill them with 3 damage spells. Part of the key to why he's so good in the Zoo matchup. Now here, I'm sure Ikeda will Helix the Pride Mage. Kibler needs a target in order to be able to fizzle that, right? Saka's response would, in theory,
6.
Yes.
deny Ikeda the life, which would be lethal. But I think he needs a target.
He does need a target. I mean, he could also bolt it himself, I guess. But
Oh, he bolted himself, sure. At that point, you may as well just bolt Ikeda.
2.
So 16 to 9, but he falls, and Kibler shows him Punishing Fire. Game 2 goes to Brian Kibler.
two very convincing games from Kibler.
Two, yeah, those were just blowouts.
Very, very awkward hands. We really see the downside of Spectral Zoo here.
Yeah.
Just in a format with a lot of other Zoo decks, it seems like those can really just get stuck in your hand.
Yep.
Getting to 3 white seems like it should be pretty easy. But
Yeah, but I mean,
but sometimes you need the red-green land for your Curd Ape.
Right. So you get to 4, but then you can hiccup before you get there. Well, I got to tell you, it may be 2-0 Kibler, but we have seen a lot of comebacks from 2-0 today. If you remember back to the quarterfinals, Kibler was down 2-0, and yet here he is still playing. Ikeda was down 2-0, and here he is still playing. Right? Burton took a 2-0 lead on Watanabe, only to see Watanabe come all the way back to force Game 5. So that one held up. But, I mean, all 4 quarterfinals went 3-2, despite the fact that 3 of them started out 2-0.
Yeah, you usually, we're sitting here and we see someone go up 2-0. It's like, okay, well, we know how this will end. But,
Now,
it's
I will
really
say,
shaking the
I think that all those matchups in the quarterfinals were a little closer on deck matchup than this
Right.
one. Kibler is really, really well set up for Zoo. I don't know. I like it when you see deck building and preparation really get paid off
Sure.
like that. They predicted the field correctly. They innovated on their list, set it up to beat the stuff they expected, got the predictions right. Nobody else found the innovations that they did.
Come back from 0-2 in your dream?
This is Ikeda's second finals appearance. He plays on a team that has a couple players familiar with finals experience. Jin Okamoto is someone who's come close a couple of
The
times.
Silver Collector.
Silver Collector.
Yeah, those guys, as teammates, lost to Von Dutch, Pro Tour Seattle,
Yeah.
place where Camille got his win.
Jin Nakamoto also lost to Daniel Zink in the finals of the World Championships.
Right, right.
He would certainly like to shake up that
Silver collection?
silver collection. Yeah,
Add some gold.
I don't have that much more room for silver. The silver case is all filled up.
Kibler with a win here would get to, what, 37 pro points?
He certainly puts himself within a punch. Gives himself a puncher shot.
Yeah,
If-
he might have to win Worlds, though, to catch the Watanabe the way he's been racking up the Grand Prix points.
He'd have to head to Tampa.
I think he is headed to Tampa.
Okay.
I think he's headed to Tampa, and then he's going to like take a look at the standings because he's got level 7, level 8 starting to look at
Sure.
it too. If he's
Yeah.
sitting,
Price
I mean,
out
with a
some-
win here, it's 12 points from Honolulu. It'd be 25 here, 37. That's okay. Show up at Worlds, you can probably get to 40, but can you put a couple of Grand Prix results together? A deep run at Worlds and get to 50? That'd be a nice number. Sets himself up for next year.
Start pricing out flights to Kitakushu.
Uh-oh. Ikeda's going to take a mulligan.
Ooh.
So down 2-0, and he'll be playing game 3 with just 6 cards. Kibler will
Fair game,
also
fair
be
game.
playing with 6 cards. So
We see
fair
some. Of,
game,
we see some of the new rules in play here.
Yep, simultaneous mulligans.
I gotta
It's
say,
such the obvious thing to do.
I love that rule.
Yeah, it's just clearly better.
Just checking up on Brian Kibler's current point total.
I don't think he has anything other than the 12 from Hawaii.
You are correct. He has no GP points, no Nationals points.
The Player of the Year race at Worlds will be fun. I mean, it'll be fun not just at Worlds, but basically, settle in for a month of checking Magic Pro Tour on Twitter is what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
Grand Prix Tampa, Grand Prix Kitakyushu, Grand Prix Minneapolis, Grand Prix Paris, and then Worlds in Rome. Every weekend. 6 weekends in a row with Magic Premier events.
Yeah, I'm heading to Tampa right from here. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Heading straight there?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Spend a couple days.
Tsuyoshi Ikeda came in with 17 points.
Okay, so he's also got 37. Well, he's got 37 with a loss. These guys would actually be tied at 37 with a loss. Kibler keeps 6. Ikeda keeps 6. We're off. Brian Kibler only needs to win one of the next 3 games, and he will be the Pro Tour Austin champion.
So Baneslayer has not shown up for him, but I'm seeing.
Hasn't needed it.
I'm seeing Mrs. Elspeth, his little
Well,
girlfriend on the
Baneslayer's
side.
the queen. I wonder to make Elspeth the mistress.
It's his Gumar. For you Italians out there. And it's going to come down on turn 3 without any kind of removal from Ikeda, who's clearly going to bolt the bird.
Sure. Yeah, Ikeda cracks a fetch land, and I'm sure he would like to remove Noble Hierarch.
Noble Hierarch's been one of the cards that people have been just very, very scared of when Kibler's played it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, not the Noble Hierarch.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, we've been playing up the Burn Willows combo and the Baneslayers, but Noble Hierarch is not the one drop most of the Zoo decks chose. It seems absolutely correct, especially the way their deck is set up to play a little bit later into the game.
Right. Like we said, he gives
Turn
him-
2 Knight, turn 3 Baneslayer.
Right, he has 8 ways to accelerate out Baneslayer Angel
Right.
between the Noble Hierarch and the Knight of the Reliquary.
Or even just getting out the quick Knights is pretty powerful. Exalted has been pretty relevant too, especially with Baneslayer, but not exclusively with Baneslayer. Right.
So 37 would get these guys also, it looks like, probably both into the top 10 in the standings for this year.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah, Watanabe's got a bit of a lead now in the Player of the Year race. He'll hit all 4 of those Grand Prix, so he'll be the likely leader headed into Worlds, but Martin Yuza is hot on his heels and hungry and will be hitting all of the same Grand Prix that Watanabe does. So there's a chance the 2 of them might have a little bit of a distance from the field at Worlds, or You know, LSV will hit a couple of those Grand Prix. He could put up a result.
Talking to Martin Juzo.
Saito is still in it. Shuhei is still in it.
One.
Yeah, and a win by any of those guys sort of throws the race.
Right.
We saw.
Well, it eats
we
up
saw-
Watanabe's lead.
right,
Watanabe's lead is 10-ish right now.
Right. But I'm saying we saw Watanabe thrust himself into the race with a couple of GPs
Absolutely.
and a GP win.
Yeah, 2 top 8s, a win. Either of these things.
You know, is the
completely
pace
close
is the
the gap.
pace he's on sustainable?
It's going to be. I don't know. I want to say no, but I didn't think he could put up the 4 top 8s in a row that he's done. So
It was interesting. I was
knows?
talking to a couple of players before the event who had participated in a fantasy pro tour.
okay,
So before the pro tour, you nominate. You know, there's a pool of players that you think are likely to be top picks to make the top 8. There was
Sure.
only 20 players that were put into the fantasy pool.
okay.
Okay, 4 of them made this top 8.
Yeah, this top 8 was so good. Kata cracks a fetch land. He was not able to kill that Noble Hierarch, by the way. So turn 2 Knighted Reliquary for Kibler.
And that's going to be. He can have a Baneslayer next turn if he wanted one. Play the land.
Oh, he
tap it.
wants one.
He does want one. Play the land, tap it, sack, get another land.
And a knight for Ikeda. What are the sizes on those knights?
Looks like 2.
4/4 for Ikeda, 3/3 for Kibler.
Yeah. Evan Irwin seems to be anticipating the win here,
Lining up for the crowd
lining
shot.
up for the crowd reaction. And Kibler's just going to be able to send that Knight of the Reliquary into the air a couple times
With Elspeth?
with Elspeth. That's
How many cards?
4.
I mean, Ikeda can crack back and hit Elspeth if he goes 2
Sure.
nuts with it. Brian pretty clearly conflicted about how to play this turn. There's the Elspeth direction. It's kind of fun, but probably not right.
So it's funny. We've talked about all these new mechanics. We've talked about Cascade. We've actually talked a little bit about Suspend. You know, we've talked about Landfall.
Yep.
Exalted's been a pretty big deal for Brian Kibler.
Yeah.
Two sets of creatures with Exalted that have. I mean, Exalted was really the difference for him in the Evangelos matchup.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he outraced Progenitus.
Yeah.
He outraced Progenitus. His opponent, Hypergenesis, put Progenitus into play and Angel of Despair, and Brian won the game.
The double Exalted was the like. He
Yep.
ended the game on
7
2
plus
life.
7 plus 7. He's able to outrace. He's able to deal 21 in 3 swings, and he's able to survive at 2 thanks to the life gain. Yeah, he survived 3 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got in. Progenitus attacked first, dealt 30, but 7 plus 7 plus 7 is 21 damage and 21 life, and 14 life gain, which is enough to get to 34.
It looks like another night.
Another night.
No third land for Brian.
Right. Well, I'm sure he'll use the first night to start pumping them both up. Ooh, fetch land. Ikeda's going to win this night battle, it looks like. Or at least he's going to have the bigger individual guy. Kibler will probably stay within double block range.
2 red.
Countryside
Oh, that's a
Crusher.
Countryside Crusher.
Oh, which is double red.
Nope. He would like to be able to sack that fetch land after the Crusher's in play,
Yeah.
but not able to do that. You wonder if Ikeda was locked into a plan in his head. Now I'm going to do this, and then I have an extra mana that I can use for the Lightning Bolt or for the Curd Ape.
Right.
Grow my Crusher. I'm going to grow my Reliquary and my Crusher.
I wish I actually knew. Can anyone actually tell me the Oracle text on Country Strike Crusher? Thank you.
Does not have trample.
Yeah, it looks like Ikeda audibles all the way to Curd Ape.
3 card?
Yes. Stack.
It's a cost.
Cost.
Kibler does indeed activate Knight of the Reliquary, sending a land to the graveyard.
Actually, one of the interesting things that this that Brian's deck did is it responded to an Extirpate, which is a card with
Yeah.
split second.
Uh-huh.
But because Grove of the Burn Willows is a mana source,
Right.
he was actually able to respond and return.
Really?
Yeah, he was able to respond and return a
Punishing Fire and get
Punishing
it out
Fire.
from under an
Get it out
Extirpate?
from under an Extirpate.
Sleeves.
Mana sources are faster than split second?
Apparently.
Crazy. So what? That puts the
Making
trigger
your
on the
friend lots of
stack, and
money.
split second forbids you from playing any more spells, but you can still respond to a triggered ability.
Yeah.
So.
Or at least that's how the judge let him do it in the match.
No, it sounds right.
It does sound right.
It's the same reason you could counter things with
Counterbalance.
counterbalance. Brian went and got a fetch land with his Knight of the Reliquary. That way he could then sack the fetch land to get another land, making both the knights +2/+2. It really is this kind of arms race going on with dueling Knights of the Reliquary.
Bolt your Hierarch.
Two cards.
Yes.
3 lands.
All right. Kibler done shuffling up from searching lands. Highs his turn. The Hierarch is finally dead. Now what? Sounds like his hand is Grove, Punishing Fire. It's a pretty good combo, but it doesn't kill any of Ikeda's creatures right now. Tarmogoyf and Elspeth.
He has a green source. He also has the Grove.
I think he's got a Pride Mage in there too. Yeah, not clear what the right path is. Ikeda's got Knight Edge right now. Kibler can start cycling through all his lands. With 2 Knights, he'll catch up and win.
Yeah, Kibler can actually go up 4 lands this turn if he really wanted to with his 2
Right,
Knights. Right, he can go get 2 fetch lands. To
Yeah, they're
replace the
5
2
each
lands.
right now, so it seems like you want to... I don't know that he wants to try to attack, because if he sits back, he plays defense, like nothing too bad can happen to him. He fetches 2 lands, maybe he makes some fetches. He just winds up with 2 gigantic Knights, right?
Yeah.
I think I would play defense with those Knights, setting up to have them be gigantic next turn. Meanwhile, what's he going to do with the rest of his mana? Random Pride Mage seems okay. Burn Willows to have Punishing Fire seems
He could play a Tarmogoyf.
okay.
Could play a Tarmogoyf here, sack 2 lands, get 2 lands,
Yeah.
play something else.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I don't know that he wants to tap the
I don't.
main
He
phase,
does.
'cause
He
wants
doesn't. He
them-
does not want to tap the main
I
phase.
think he
at
wants
all.
them available for defense, or at least one of them. Yeah, he could go land Tarmogoyf, tap 1 Knight for a land,
Right.
and Pride Mage. I think that's how I would play this. I mean, what does that lose to? You wind up with Tarmogoyf and Pride Mage both hitting the table. You're going to use the Knights anyway. And I'd probably get fetch land first.
I think he's gonna
You're at
play.
16? Yeah. Get a fetch land.
I think he's going to play Elspeth here.
Take 2.
No, he does not get a fetch land.
Got 3 mana floating in his pool. Katie keeps fanning those cards. He's like, you have how many cards in your hand still? Yep.
And so he goes for Elspeth.
Okay.
That seems good too. Probably better than Tarmogoyf plus Pride Mage.
Oh, yeah.
Still got 1 Knight available to play defense.
Make a creature.
Yep.
Plus a dude.
Go.
So
Yeah, Elspeth, there's what does Ikeda's deck do about Elspeth? She is not the lady we expected to win Brian Kibler the Pro Tour, but she sure looks poised to take Game 1 and Game 3.
Kind of needs to, he needs a Spectral Procession to be able to fly over twice and sort of whittle it down, but that does not seem very likely to happen.
Yeah. I guess Kibler's a ladies' man. Is that the headline? Ladies' man?
It would be Lady Killers if Fujita won. I mean, Ikeda won. Ikeda uses his Knight of the Reliquary at the end of the turn.
Sure.
If all these fetch lands weren't enough shuffling.
So 16, 14?
Yeah.
Pretty close on life. Ikeda's got the slight edge, but board advantage sure looks like edge Kibler. 2 Knights of the Reliquary to 1. Plus he's got Elspeth and a token. To Ikeda's what? Kurdape?
Kurdape, yeah, the Knight's sort of, Ikeda's Knight is going to not defeat Brian's at this point.
Look how many lands Ikeda has that do not tap for white. Like he's drawn 3 of the non-white lands, so I believe there's at least 1 Spectral Possession in Ikeda's hand, but they're kind of awkward.
Sounds like Countryside Crusher's coming down right now. We saw it earlier. He wanted to play it, but did not have the correct red mana.
Sure. Yep, that is Countryside
May
Crusher.
respond. May respond.
Kibler
Thinking.
might respond. He's thinking.
We're both at 14.
14 apiece.
Ikeda's playing with his microphone. Fell off. The shot in the background with the flames lapping behind Brian
Kibler's
Kibler's head is
Yeah, I like that graphic.
stunning.
That looks pretty sharp.
Combined with the sound effects from Ikeda fumbling with his mic, it actually does sound like a
Yeah.
fire.
That's a good shot. I like that. Feels like Kibler should be offering me a deal of some kind in exchange for my soul.
Here, use my special pen. And go.
Kibler decides not to respond. Ikeda ships the
Flying.
turn.
Yep. Here comes.
Flying Knight of the Reliquary.
Which gets +3, +3. It's a
9.
9. He can give it an extra boost of 2 if he wants to here.
Is this it? Does he have enough burn? One more turn.
Content to play a
In one.
Tarmogoyf and Nakatl.
Tarmogoyf and
Go.
Nakatl. Elspeth is set up to send a flyer to the air next turn. Spectral Procession can maybe fend things off for a turn,
Right,
but
he can pay 4 or 5 mana for it if he wants. There's a bolt.
Lightning Bolt into Ikeda's hand.
Yeah, that's what he has
Basically
to do.
has to play Spectral Procession,
Right.
or he's going to die to a big flyer.
4 mana for Spectral Procession.
Kibler sure looking good. His deck was set up for this matchup, and he seems poised for the sweep.
Got through 2 different versions of the deck.
Spectral Procession. Okay.
4 mana Spectral Procession.
3 guys, ships the turn.
So with the country, if the Countryside Crusher manages to not die this turn, which is not a certainty, he's going to be drawing a spell every turn from now on.
True.
Flying.
Flying and attack. 1 token blocks, 2 tokens down.
Crunch all you want.
Kibler plays a land and ships the turn back. No reason to go nuts here.
1 land. Here's a Kurdape.
Right. Is there a path through this for Ikeda?
I don't see where it's coming from. I mean, he's still got to get past that Knight of the Reliquary.
Right, the other
which
knight
is
blocks.
infinitely large. Kills 1 token.
Yeah, kills a token. with Punishing Fire off Burn Willows.
Yeah.
So Burn Willows will bring it back. He'll be able to kill the other token and attack with the Giant Flyer. Look at Kibler's look. He's like, you see it, right? That's game. That is game, boys. There's the hand, and Brian Kibler is your Pro Tour Austin champion. 3 games to 0.
Thank you.
The
Well done.
sweep. Punishing Fire. That was by far the biggest innovation these guys came up with. Punishing Fire, Burn Willows, and there it was at the end. Spectral Procession, 3 flyers, whatever. Kill that one, regrow, kill the other one, now deal with my Giant Flyer.
Brian Kibler comes from an era where buyback was a common mechanic in Magic, and he's gone right back to it.
Yeah, that is one very happy man right now. Congratulations, Pro Tour Austin champion, Brian Kibler.
Yeah, he wins at least $3,000.
We'll see how much he's got left after dinner, right?
Dinner in 6th Street.
$40,000, 25 pro points. He's in Pro Club level something decent. Set up for next year. I actually won. Yes, you did. Awesome deck, awesome player, and Pro Tour champion. He's been playing on tour since he was barely a teenager, and yet here he is. And now comes the iPhone. Time to post this to Twitter.
They already know, Brian.
That is exactly where that's going.
This is he's been playing.
Did he have it ready? Did he have the post already typed out? All he had to do was hit send? Is that what that was?
I mean, congratulations to Tsuyoshi Ikeda on another terrific performance in his amazing
Oh,
career.
yeah. 300 pro points. I got to be honest. I'm going to be taking a long look at Tsuyoshi Ikeda for Hall of Fame consideration.
Yeah.
I have 300 points, 2 top 8s, couple of runner-up finishes, and the impact he's had on the Japanese Magic community around Chop Fireball. I think he's got to be part of the conversation at this point, and we'll see what he does at Worlds. He appears to be playing better Magic now than he has at any point in his career. Right, 2 top 8s out of the last 4 Premier level events.
Yeah, he's playing some great Magic. Having a great time.
Hello again.
Hey.
They're going to set up for an award ceremony, so stay tuned. We'll get you down there to see Brian pick up the big check, pick up the trophy, and wave it around. So while they set up, what are you going to remember from this Pro Tour?
It's obviously going to remember Brian Kibler, coming to the tournament with the best deck, working with a great team of people.
Yeah.
And understanding what the format was going to be, understanding what Job 1 was. Job 1 was not beating Dredge.
Right.
Job 1 was not beating Thopter Foundry.
Don't
Job
get too
1
distracted by Dark Depths and Hypergenesis.
People, it's still the Pro Tour. It's still extended. People are still going to play Zoo.
Yeah.
Let's beat Zoo at their own game. And they came with a great deck. They had some great innovations.
Yeah.
The Noble Hierarch was a very interesting addition. The Grove of the Burn Willows Punishing Fire combination was just amazing. It was originally developed for a different deck, a Gifts Ungiven deck.
Okay.
And they were like, well, why don't we play this bigger Zoo deck and take that fantastic innovation and put it in here?
Right.
And that hybridization is just...
it was apparently only a couple of days ago when Hall of Famer Ben Rubin sort of made that leap. They weren't in love with the Gifts skeleton. I mean, the Gifts deck had just incredible diversity, sort of a very decision-intensive deck. Nassif chose to run it, Chapin, Dave Williams. But it was a little on the fragile side. And this is a very fast format. So, yeah, it's setting up. They had the sort of the card drawing engine around Thirst. They had the artifacts. They had like engineering explosives and academy ruins, and it's like a million one-ofs and 8,000 different directions you can go, all of which give you victory inevitably. But it can be tricky to survive the first 3, 4, 5 turns with a deck like that.
But does it beat Zoo?
Yeah, that's
that
what
was
it
the
comes
question
down
they
to.
were obviously asking themselves each time, and they found a Zoo deck that beat Zoo, and a Zoo deck that was able to have packages of cards in its sideboard to beat everything else.
Sideboards to be great against each of those. Absolutely true.
Yeah. What's your memory that you're going to take away from this Pro Tour?
I mean, for me, it's similar, but I mean, it's Baneslayer Angel. It's, for me, the summary. I know Punishing Fire Burn Willows is sort of more important to the deck's power, but just the idea of just the brain power of, we'll take our Zoo deck. Instead of Curd Ape, what about Baneslayer Angel? Like, that's the moment. That's the real aha for me that just gave them the position they needed to destroy this field. Like, that's just such an awesome example of deck building and then getting paid off for better preparation. I love it when the best players, the best thinkers get paid off for just outthinking the field. That's what this is about for me.
Yeah. Mark Rosewater said he wanted Mythic Rares to be jaw-dropping. And it was funny because I remember the first moment you saw the Baneslayer Angel in that list, your jaw actually dropped.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, because
Yeah.
it's the kind of card you want to see people win a Pro Tour with. You know, this is very similar to Brian Kibler's top 8 run in
in Chicago.
In Chicago, where he did it with
99.
Rith.
He kills John Finkel with Rith the Awakener, enchanted by Armadillo Cloak. Right, that dream, and he pulled it off. Top 8 of the Pro Tour.
And that's what you want to see people win it.
I love it.
No one wants to see anyone. I'm sorry, no one wants to see anyone countering any spells.
Oh, hey,
they want to
look,
attack with giant monsters.
When I went to Wizards, you look at the quality of the spells, and they went down over time. Counterspell rotated out. I'm like, guys, you can't let people have this. This is just, sure. I mean, the good players will just sit there with a grip full of counters and win. That's not where you want Magic. Well, I think that, for me, the platonic ideal of a constructed format, people are attacking with 5-mana creatures. That's what I think you want to try to set up a format. So you got your aggro strategies, you got your control, you got your combo, and then you've got like giant monsters with, mythic rarity symbols and, jaws dropping, however you want to describe it. Giant monsters. And, over the years, Brian Kibler with that Armadillo Cloaked Rith has always been for me almost the ideal, like the thing that constructed formats should strive. You want Brian Kibler to be able to win. And this extended format's awesome. Lots of diversity. And you know what? Brian Kibler can win a Pro Tour attacking with 5/5 flyers. That's fun.
So question now. We saw after Berlin, right, all these Elves decks in the top 8, Elves wins, and we expected Elves to be this dominant. Mm-hmm. Do you think Zoo
And then it vanished, right?
And
it
just
was a
vanished.
complete no-show for the PTQ season.
Does that, I don't think that happens to this Zoo deck.
No way. It's an interesting question to say, okay, now that everybody knows what's up, what happens to extended? That's a really interesting question because, it would things would change dramatically, right? Everyone kind of understands Dark Depths is good, maybe not good enough if everybody has the right hate cards. Dredge is still a big player. I think you'll see Ravenous Traps go up and Dredge results go down.
Sure. People
play this format again. I think you're going to see Punishing Fire Burn Willows explode, but I don't know what that means. Like, what's the answer to Grove Punishing Fire?
Or some sort of Wrath of God control deck.
A old school blue-white control. Yeah, I mean, big creature decks should lose to control, right? Maybe the Gifts deck comes around full circle. I don't know what happens to this format, but I mean, there's a lot of tech that was kind of unveiled as everybody compares notes,
Sure.
And it'll be. I mean, it seems like it's set up to be interesting for a while.
Yeah, we saw Tron decks. We saw Markov Cocktail. We saw.
Yeah.
But at the end, it was Brian Kibler and his Ruben Zoo deck. Just unbelievable.
All right, they're still setting up for the award ceremony. Anything else you're going to take home from this one?
I think a renewed appreciation for Tsuyoshi Ikeda, who
that's a great point.
I've watched him play, and it's easy to also get overshadowed by so many.
There was always like a Kenji or an Oiso or a Saito, Shuhei. There's so many guys that have overshadowed him by being good for a couple of years, but he's been so good for so long. It definitely belongs to the Hall of Fame consideration, in my opinion.
Battle just got a lot more crowded. Brian Kibler, Tsuyoshi Ikeda.
All right.
Sounds like we're about to throw it down to the award ceremony. or not. We can keep talking about the Hall of Fame.
All right, I think we are ready. Let's throw it down to Rich Hagon to hand out some trophies and to hand out that big check. We will see you guys in Rome.
Congratulations, Brian.
Riccardo Tessitore. Welcome to the awards ceremony for Pro Tour Austin 2009. Assisting me today is the head judge, Riccardo Tessitore. Already awarded, in fourth place, winning $13,000 from the USA, Hunter Burton. And in third place, winning $15,000 from Japan, Naoki Shimizu. And now, your Pro Tour finalist, winning $20,000 from Japan, Tsuyoshi Ikeda. Tsuyoshi Ikeda of Japan winning $20,000. And now, your Pro Tour Austin champion for 2009, winning $40,000 from the United States of America, Brian Kibler. Brian Kibler, your Pro Tour Austin champion, $40,000. We'd like to thank all the staff, the judges, the players, and of course you, the viewers around the world, for making Pro Tour Austin such a success. Join us next time for the 2009 World Championships in the Eternal City of Rome, November 19 through 22. But until we meet again then, I'm your host, Richard Hagan, saying bye.